no further ado, man, we'll turn it over to Brooke Howard White. Mr. Howard White, it's all you, my brother. Take it away. Go.
Hey, Frank, how long we got, man? Just so I'll be cognizant of time. I always want to be respectful of time.
I say about. We try to get out here about 9, and so you can go up to about 8:45.
Okay, and I'll probably end a little earlier than that because I always love Q&A, man, and that's what I really love. All right, so let's get into it today. Well, first of all, I want to say, hey, thanks for Uncle Frank inviting me, and thank God for putting us together at that hotel up in North Atlanta on a Saturday afternoon at the Billionaire Mastermind, and just two guys bumping into each other, and who, you never know what's going to happen. I always say God puts people in your life for a reason and a season, and you never know until you have faith in the relationship. And that's what happened with Uncle Frank and I when we met that Saturday afternoon, or actually on Saturday morning. I can remember exactly when we met. Uncle Frank said that was don't remember the date. That's irrelevant. But throughout that, he's been consistent, and that's the thing I admire about Uncle Frank. I told him if he called me, Mr. Howard or Mr. White, I'm going to call him Dr. Uncle Frank. So we have that. So we'll stay there, Uncle Frank. With that said, one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight, and it's something that I've been, I think we all go through seasons of things that God put on our heart. I am a person of faith. Was raised in the church, and straight away, just like all of us have from time to time, I chose not to partake in what was poured into it. But the key thing is if you're taking notes tonight, there are a couple things I want you to do to really amplify your note. I want you to write this word down, ACT. Uncle Frank kind of said it there, is knowledge is not power. People always say knowledge is power. Well, knowledge is like that water in the Hoover Dam. Until it goes through the dam and turn those turbines, then it's never power. So until you apply it and do something useful with it, and it's really not power. So that's what I want to challenge you to think about. So I want you to write this down. Hey, what am I going to apply? And you may hear something, ask yourself, I'm not going to talk about a whole lot of new things. That's just hopefully I can share in a way that may make you think new. There's nothing new under the sun. I always tell this, I tell my son this, and I tell you this all the time. Sin has been with us since the beginning of time. It talks about it in Genesis. And then with that said, beginning of time, sin has been with us. But different men thought about how they would use sand differently. And as you think about it, that's how glass came about. You think about it, that's how the silicon chip was created. So it's what you do with that knowledge that's going to make a difference. So I want you to say, hey, what am I going to apply tonight? So out of the things that I heard, and you can use this anytime that you're investing your time in learning. And then C stands for change. What am I going to change, and how am I going to change it? And then T stands for who am I going to teach? Because remember this, if you teach, and I want you to write this down, when I teach, I learn 3 times. I must prepare, I must deliver, and then I must reflect. But just like tonight, this lesson that I'm done, I've delivered parts of this before. But as I prepared, new things flowed into me. As I speak, I'm sure there'll be new things that flow through me. And then as I reflect, there'll be new things that I pick up that I said. One of the things that I did, and I challenge everyone, if you ever have opportunity to speak as you speak and teach, record yourself. Not necessarily to see how good you look or how great you sound, but really to understand what it is that God has allowed to flow through you. So with that, tonight, I just want to share something on how to crush the fourth quarter, how to finish strong, how to crush the fourth quarter. I won't get through the whole lesson just in the amount of time we have. This is literally a full day workshop and extend out over a whole quarter. But, most of the listeners in Atlanta, and I'm down in New Orleans, but no, New Orleans area. I'm in Baton Rouge, but no, I'm not a Saints fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Hey, America's team. Everybody's muted, so I don't have to get into a debate with that. That's a good thing right now. But you think about a few weeks ago. You're supposed to be quiet, Uncle Frank. With that, the Dallas Cowboys, you talk about the fourth quarter. They were playing a game against a team called the Green Bay Packers. And they had a guy named Aaron Rodgers. And So, I don't even remember what the score was prior to the beginning of the fourth quarter, or even prior to a minute and 41 seconds left in the fourth quarter. But I know the Dallas Cowboys went up. And the commentator said that was too much time left on the clock. And sure enough, it was. Aaron Rodgers drove the team down and finished the fourth quarter strong. So right now, at the time of this recording, we're in the fourth quarter. I want to challenge you to begin to finish the fourth quarter strong. I have 10 things that I want to talk to you about tonight, but there are 3 in specific that I'm going to go into. So the first one, as you begin to think about finishing your fourth quarter strong, is you want to jump back in and reconnect to your purpose. That's right, reconnect to your purpose. That's the first thing that you must do. Well, why is that important, Howard? Well, our purpose is the reason in which we were created. I mean, that's the bottom line. It is the reason we were created. God talks a lot about us as individuals. God talks a lot about why we were created. I just want to share a couple scriptures that may help you cement that. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about verse 1 through 8. And let me just pull my Bible out so I'm make sure I'm on point here, gentlemen. And Uncle Frank heard me talk a little bit about this last week, but I didn't go into detail. And I know this is a place where I am amongst men with faith. And so when you think about chapter 3, verse 1 through 8, God gives us several points that talks about our purpose. So I want to share those with you. The first one is it's our responsibility to recognize God's timing and not to change it. Easy way to remember that everything happens for a reason and a season. We were born for a reason and a season. For the young folks on the line tonight, the sooner you realize your reason, the more you're going to enjoy your season. Yeah, I said that. The sooner you realize your reason, the more you're going to enjoy your season. We're only here for a season. You think about some of the testimonies you heard from men, the trials and tribulations they had. A lot of it is because and I say we because I chose not to connect to my purpose. There are several times throughout my life, and I was sharing this earlier today with someone, where my purpose knocked on my door. I refused to answer. My purpose called my phone, and because I didn't have caller ID, I chose not to answer. And so I want to challenge you is that it's your responsibility to recognize God's timing. Now, God created you for a reason and a season. The reason you can find, and only by connecting with God. The season, we know not the days that are numbered for us. So that's number one. Second thing is our responsibility and to accept and cooperate with God's timing, just like I said. As He asks us to do certain things in our lives, we must have faith to walk with destination unknown. Third thing is alignment with God's timing makes a great difference. I call it PATH, P-A-T-H. I'm an acronym junkie. Uncle Frank could tell you. But PATH stands for Purpose Aligned Towards Heaven. Purpose aligned towards heaven, or purpose aligned towards heaven, because we were all created to serve. We were all created to serve. The other thing that's clear in this passage, Ecclesiastes 1 through 3 and 1 through 8, is that God has made everything appropriate in His time. So it's important that we don't rush God's timing. The other side of it is be okay and be comfortable with it. God has put eternity in our heart. He tells us if we trust, believe, and accept, eternity is ours. And then when we rejoice within our purpose, God will make our purpose rejoice, help others rejoice. So those are just some things I want you to garner out of that. And yes, if you're on the call, you may not quite be a believer. You say, Howard, how does this come to play for me? And when you begin to look at that and you look through your life and you really begin to seek the Word of God and ask Him to help you, ask Him and surrender yourself to Him, then He begins to open those things up. And that's something I think that's very key that we must become comfortable with. Because a lot of times we're not comfortable with trusting, especially as men. We want to know the outcome before we start. And faith tells us, Hebrews 11 tells us what? Faith is what? The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things what? Not seen. It's those things that are on our heart. And if we're trusting in God, then the things that are on our heart are there because of God. Yeah. So I want to give you some things that will help you ensure that your life, your business is on path. Remember what I said? Purpose aligned towards helping. Purpose aligned towards heaven. So you want to ask yourself these questions. Am I passionate about what I'm doing? And the answer is either yes or no. It's that simple. It's yes or no. Do I help solve problems? Does my business help solve problems? Does my business help people? Do I help people? And as you begin to really answer those questions, you're going to realize that your true purpose, when you look at men and women that are walking in purpose, they're helping others. They're solving problems. Now, I often tell people when I realized that I was born to be a teacher, I was born to help teach and serve others, it became clear to me. As I said, it knocked on my door several times. One of the times was when I graduated from college. I have an engineering degree. I was headed off to work in corporate America, going to be this corporate executive. That was my dream. And I can remember my mom sitting there, had me on the couch saying, hey, you're not enjoying college, are you? You should be a teacher. That was the first time it knocked. Second time was when I got ready to graduate. Had a professor said, hey, Howard, would you like to go to Jamaica and teach for a semester? I laugh now because at the time, I did smoke a little ganja, have a little fun like that. I was like, spring 1990 in Jamaica. How much fun that would have been. Yeah, I wouldn't have been making much money, but it would have been different. But once again, it was my purpose knocking, and I chose not to answer. So I challenge you tonight is, as you seek your purpose and you hear it knock, open the door so you can realize the reason. And it's going to help you enjoy the season. That is the key thing. So I'm going to give you 5 steps real quick, and you can listen to the recording. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them because there are a couple other points I want to cover in detail. That is, the first one is figure out who you are and what you're good at. That's number 1. Figure out who you are, what you're good at. Number 2 is find out who you can help with that unique skill set. Find out who you can help with that unique skill set. So whatever you're good at, ask yourself, who can I help? And then determine the best way to help that person or that set of people with your skill set. And then you want to develop a plan to make that happen, and then enjoy the journey. That's number 5, enjoy the journey, because it is a journey. You're going to go through some valleys, or I like to say you're going to grow through some valleys and become comfortable with growing through valleys, because great things grow in the valleys and not on the peaks. Great things grow in the valleys and not in the peaks. And so become comfortable with that as you move forward. Now, the second part of it is to create a vision that's in alignment with your purpose. Create a vision that's in alignment with your purpose. To me, that is one of the key things. Once you begin to create this vision, and I call it a dynamic growth vision. Our business is called Business Dynamic Growth Consulting, so everything is in alignment with that. And so I just want to cover two pieces, two chapters two verses, and there are a lot of verses in the Bible that will help you become clear on what you should do as you work on your vision. So, number one, and this is in Habakkuk 2 and 3. I'm sorry, 2 and 3. So that's chapter 2, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. So when you talk about that, here's what, Habakkuk, it tells us to write that vision down, make it clear. So I'm just going to pull that up just so I can say it verbatim. I don't want to paraphrase as we go through that, and I want you to become clear with that of what it does for you when you understand what the word will do for you. That's right, what it does for you when you understand what the word will do for you. And I'm going to go through the Amplified version. Let's see if I can get that up here, parallel and Amplified. Yeah. So then the Lord answered and said, write the vision and engrave it plainly on clay tablets, so that one who reads it will run. Wow, let's stop right there. So there's a couple things that happens. Number one is that you must write it. That's right, you must write it. Let's write the vision. And then you must engrave it plainly. So you want to make it clear. You want to make it easy for people to understand it. And then you have to share. And so when others read it, you want it to be so exciting that others want to run. And that's what that verse says. So that one who reads it will run. That's right. One who reads it, will run. And so become comfortable with that. All right, so then in verse 3, it talks about, for the vision is yet for the appointed time. It means the future time. It hurries towards the goal of fulfillment. It will not fail, even though it delays. Wait patiently for it, because it will certainly come, and it will not delay. All right, so Brother Howard, what is that saying, and how does it apply to me in my business? How does it apply to me in my life? Let's talk about that real quickly. It is for a select time in the future. One of the best statements when someone asks me, what is a vision? It is a pictorial representation of a preferred future. That's what it is. It's for a preferred future, an appointed time. It motivates us towards the goals. It hurries towards the goal. And so when you create that vision, it teaches you and allows you to have a clarity on where you're going, where you're growing to. It allows you to say no to things. It helps filter what you say yes to. It helps determine what you must learn to grow into that vision, because you are not that person today. You're going to be different. The other things it says is it should not be discarded. And then last but not leastly, a godly appointed vision shall not what? Fail. So the key thing is seeking, understanding. All right, let me say that. Seeking and then surrendering, then understanding, and having faith. I want to step back just a little bit more to Proverbs, and there's a verse, a chapter there, chapter 23, that talks about vision, and I think that's very key, because as we create that dynamic growth vision, what that's going to do is it's going to give us that picture of a preferred future, and when it gives us that picture of that preferred future, then we know what we should be working on. We know where we should be growing and going. We know what we must do. So when you look at verse 7, your thoughts determines your character. For as he thinks in his heart, this is from the Amplified version, for as he thinks in his heart, so is he in behavior, one who manipulates. He says to you, eat and drink, yet his heart is not with you, but it is begrudging the cost. So when I look at verse 7, there are a couple things that happen there. Be careful of your thoughts. They may break into words at any time. I mean, how many of you on the call have been there and you know, have been in a place, a position, you thought something and you said it before you thought? Now, I can think of a situation where that happened to me. Very seldom. And it hurt a relationship. And if I said the person's name, you would know them. They've been on the call before. And it was just one word, not degrading necessarily, but after I said it, it was too late to grab it. And so when you have a clear vision of where you're going, then it allows you to be careful of your thoughts. And then as you skip down to verse 9, do not speak in the ears of fools. Your vision is not for everyone. Become comfortable with that. See, the vision is given to the leader, and it takes a team to fulfill the vision. But you don't speak your vision to everyone, because here's what's going to happen. It tells us right there in verse 9, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. That's right. He will despise the wisdom of your words. And so you're not going to speak it to everyone. That is something you want to be careful of as you move forward in life, as you move forward in this journey and you have your vision. I want to skip down to verse 7. The first person you lead is yourself. And the first organ you master is your mind. Now, there's a book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. But before that, the Bible tells us, apply your heart to discipline and your ears to words of knowledge. Apply your heart to discipline and to your ears the word of knowledge. And so as you begin to think about that, I want you to really think about how your vision helps to guide those things. How your vision allows you to guide those things. A couple more points I want to make on vision before I move along here is that don't let your mind drift away from God's truth and vain envy. That's in verse 17. That is my synopsis of it. But let me read the scripture so you can hear it from the Amplified Version. Do not let your heart envy sinners who live godless lives and have no hope of salvation, but continue to live in the reverent, worshipful fear of the Lord day by day. And then I'm going to read on the next two verses, and then we're going to move on. But surely there is future and a reward, and your hope and expectations will not be cut off. Listen, my son, be wise, and direct your heart in the way of the Lord. So he tells us in 18, stay confident that your vision will come to pass. Remember, we said it was for an appointed time. That's what the vision is for. And then discipline your thoughts to remain steadfast in what you know is right. See, in your heart, you know what is right. You know what you should be doing. I always use the phrase, do what you know, not what you feel, because we know what we should be doing from time to time. So that is just something that I hope will help you as you develop this 91-day game plan, because, number one, that purpose is very key. Understanding your purpose, connecting to your purpose, reconnecting to your purpose. The reason I say it that way, because some of us on the call, some of you on the call may not have even connected with your purpose. So you want to connect with it, and some of us may have strayed away. So if that's the case, if that is you tonight, then you want to reconnect with your purpose. I think that is something that's very key. So I want to go ahead and just kind of go through the others, and if I had time, we would go through each one to that level, but being respectful of time, we're just going to go through a couple of the other points. And so number one was reconnect with your purpose. Number two was what? Develop that dynamic growth vision. Like I said, you put it out there 3 to 5 years from now. Hey, you want to make it a preferred picture of the future. You know, one of the things that as we're going into this new year, my wife and I, we're going to spend some time. You know, I have a system in which we do that with. Yeah, I have a system that we do that. We call it the 91-day game plan, where you're working through it all the time. But now you create specific outcomes. So you set goals. It tells us that our vision will draw goals to it. The Bible tells us that. And so as you look at where you should be going, if you have that clear vision, that specific outcome, then you craft those goals. And then now, as we get down, you create a plan. Yeah, you create a plan. One of the things I challenge people to do is create a 91-day plan. Well, everyone says, why a 91-day plan? Frank, they ask that question, and I tell them, I said, number one, you can sprint. Oftentimes you've started the year and you have not met all the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. If you set goals, it's okay if you didn't. It's not too late, because you are where you are today, and tomorrow you will be where you decide to be. That is it. You are where you are today because of the choices you made yesterday. And tomorrow you will be where you are because of the choices you make today. I applaud you for choosing to be on the call tonight. So as you look at areas to plan in your life, I want to give you 5 areas that you should look at planning. Number 1, personal. Number 2, business. Number 3, family. Number 4 is spiritual. And number 5 is financial. Well, how can I plan in all those areas? Well, just think about it. Your family, very important. Personal, yourself. You have to take care of yourself, because number 1, if you don't take care of yourself, who else can you take care of? When I say business, you may have a job right now. You may not aspire to be an entrepreneur, self-employed, run your own business, and serve others in that format. So therefore, whatever business you're in, treat it with an entrepreneur spirit. Family, you must take care of your family. One of the reasons I became an entrepreneur, where I could have the freedom to make the choices to do the things when I wanted to with my family. Spiritual, connect time with God. That's one of the things I asked for this year. One of my testimonies came from the PNC. Uncle Frank was there. There's a gentleman by the name of Rick Calhoun. We spoke briefly. Spirit in me said, hey, call him. I gave him a call a couple days after. He told me about an organization. I reached out to some people in the organization. One of those gentlemen is mentoring me on my spiritual walk in business and runs a highly successful business here. We have not talked about doing business with him, but really, how can I grow in the Word? And then financially. One of the things that a mentor tell me, and I'm going to walk back through this myself, he said, if you're not comfortable with your financial goals, practice giving away 10% of whatever that goal is. So if you want to be a millionaire, practice giving away $100,000. How many people can you bless? How many people can you serve? So become comfortable with that in planning. The next thing is, as you look at the plan and you look at each one of those areas in that outline in the plan, now you develop a goal for it. You break it down. And so one of the ways to do that, we use a system called the 2x4. You can download that system, go over to www.thegrowthplanner. That's right, thegrowthplanner.com. You can download it. And the 2x4 in there, a lot of the things that I talk about, teach about, are in that system. So you want to break it down, 2x4. What does that stand for? Well, for every goal, you're going to have what? 2 reasons why that goal is important. 2 people who are going to help you, and 4 things that you're going to do in the next 30 days to make that happen. And then inside the same system, your weekly task. Hey, what am I going to do each week to move towards that 91-day goal? And the reason I said 91 days, sticking with the sprinting. If you ran track, if anyone's on that line, the 400 meters, that's the last of the sprint. One time around the track. You can run full speed if you train properly. Key thing, if you train properly. And I could run all the way around even when I was young, but the problem was it never was that fast. Now, with that said, when you get to around running a mile, and I'm using this analogy, you cannot sprint 4 times around as fast as you can at one time. And so breaking your plan, setting the goals up into that quarterly, that 91 days. Everybody always say 91 days. Well, 7 weeks times 13. I'm sorry, 7 days times 13 weeks is what? 91. And so that's why we call it a 91-day game plan, developing that game plan. And then you plan your task at the beginning of the week. I always say if you don't plan your week, guess what? Someone else will give you a week plan. So here we are on a Tuesday night. If you didn't plan, you can't say you're on track. You don't know how to get back on track. The main thing is to identify and have accountability partners, people that is going to help hold you accountable, people that are going to help pull you forward, people that are going to help you be accountable to yourself. The hardest person to lead is yourself. Then the ninth thing is to hire a coach. Yeah, hire a coach. Why do you think all athletes, all teams look at who the coach is going to be, the head coach, then the position coaches, when you're talking about a team, the difference it makes? Most of the folks on the call are in Atlanta. You think about the head coach situation 5-6 years ago, and then look at it now. I call the coach a multiplier. I call it a multiplier. Yes, I do coach business owners. I do have a couple coaches I meet with every week. And I look at times in my life when I didn't have those people in my life, I was slow. Things didn't happen. I didn't have as much clarity because they help you see what's happening in the frame. Oftentimes, here's what happens. You're so close to you're in the picture, but you can't see what's in the frame. And the coach helps you with that. And then last but not leastly is do what you know and not what you feel. That's right. Do what you know and not what you feel, and do it daily. There are a couple scriptures that I want to point out in this is that Ecclesiastes 2 and 1 through 11, I won't go through it in detail. It talks about us having too many pursuits, lack of focus, because we do too much. Then you go over to Luke, Jesus talked about not being distracted. Then in the letter to the Philippians chapter 3, 5 through 9, talks about letting go. Things that you must let go. Things you must, quote, no longer do in order to move up. So that's one of the things I want to challenge you to do, and is to begin to develop that game plan. When I look at my notes, literally, I would love to go through this with you even more, but hopefully this has been a blessing to you. If you want to know more about this and how we can help and work with you, yes, you can work with us on it. A couple things we'll have to do, Uncle Frank, and I'll make sure we figure out how we do it, because I haven't set the codes up yet. We decided to do it this afternoon. What could I bless the folks with? We have a program called No BS Required. And No BS stands for Business School Required. It's a training program where I have 13 different professors teaching right now. I'm going to be up to 20 this time next year, or even before that, in different areas that will help you in your business, from mindset to leadership to communication to marketing to sales. And so with that, they will help you. And so I'm going to give everyone a 30-day membership to that portal. And so Uncle Frank will figure out how to get that done. And then if anyone want to know more about the 91-day game plan specific, you can simply call me at 225-442-8911. It's of course where I work with a group of people every week and implementing these principles. And that's it. We spend time together a couple times a week. One, helping hold you accountable. Two, helping you set those goals. And three, helping you learn things, new things to implement and maximize your journey. So with that, Uncle Frank, I'd like to turn it over, open the line up, and if there are any questions, love to continue dialogue and